Subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to never miss an update.
Mirzapur, then everyone went for that Mirzapur look, Central India, Dehati, Gali Galoj. You have something like that.
Sarthak, I don't think it will be wrong to say that it's coming a full circle with that book that you are writing right now about the MBA students. And you mentioned that MBA students of now have changed a lot. What kind of change do you think, like a paradigm change, do you think, like the shift that has happened?
Currently studying and just freshly out of B school, they're very different from what we were and what our lives used to be in B school. The setup being the same, which is the placement season, a fresh idea came into my mind and I started quickly writing it as a book. It's called Andy's Long Road to Kaza. My observation is this, that we in our times were more, we had more fun. I mean, I'm not saying that people don't have fun now, but they're more academically oriented, they're more focused in what they want to do, their careers. Thanks to social media, thanks to a lot of other digital things, that information being so easily accessible all the time, and so much that is kind of being spoken about, written. There's so many books and so many new methods and so many ideas of whatever marketing bolo, finance bolo, and things that are happening around the world. People are much more informed. There is a lack of patience that is probably happening in the current generation. They want more. They take very hasty decisions. They don't stick. It's also understandable because they know that everything is available. I mean, I just Google and I'll know. So there is no need to kind of put it all inside and carry it in my head. I don't need to. As long as I carry my phone, it's there with me. Which sometimes is wrong. You need some wisdom also. It's not always information and knowledge. You need wisdom, and that comes from marinating things inside your head, keeping them, understanding.
The belief that you had, that actually landed you to make your own first film, which was The Great Indian Butterfly, which I honestly liked a lot. I remember I saw it in 2010 or 11.
Yes.
You started making that film in 2003.
Producer had signed up with someone who had, who basically was some kind of a con guy, and there was no hope of that film even seeing the light of the day because, there was nothing. We were half finished. The edit was not done completely. That man got the rights and he sat on it, and then my producer had to pay some money finally after 6-7 years. Then somehow Sanjay Gupta saw it from White Feathers. Even my producer wanted to sell it. He went to them. He was doing some kind of a deal with Eros at that point of time. He watched it. He loved it. He called me. He said that, do you want something to change? Because so many years have passed, such things. So I said, yeah, if you can. I didn't have budgets then. So he gave me another 5 days of shoot, which I quickly reshot a few things and added a few things. And then it kind of got released and it saw the light of the day.
Like an entrepreneur's journey. For example, when an entrepreneur starts a venture, so be it like in finance or marketing or any kind of venture where it is offering a certain kind of a service, do you think there is a similarity between your journey and that person's journey?
Absolutely. There is only similarity. There is no dissimilarity. It's exactly the same. It's just that the output is different, but the journey is probably the same. I might be a little less perturbed than I was then. It was extremely frustrating. See, it was frustrating, one. Two, I also did not know how it was. I mean, unless... So there was this doubt, self-doubt also, that, you made something. You haven't been able to show it to anyone. You don't even know how the world is going to take it. Are they going to like it? At the end of all this, you bring it out and then they say, what nonsense is this? So I had no way to judge my own self, whether what I had made was nice or good or bad or ugly. The biggest and the most beautiful part is whoever is going through such a thing right now in their lives, this pain goes away.
During that time, what was Sarthak doing? How was Sarthak keeping his kitchen fire running?
I was constantly writing. Luckily, my wife was also working, and I started working in television. So I wrote a lot. I wrote Uttaran, Saas Bahu, things like Uttaran, and then there was some very shitty show called Saubhagyavati Bhava, where the guy used to constantly, torture his wife in very new ways. And I was one who used to devise those new ways of torture of a woman. Hate it. We used to laugh about it, but that was what I was hired for, to write stories episode after episode.
You mentioned about Uttaran, you mentioned about Savdhan India, you mentioned about Adalat. I have to say that whatever people think about these shows, they were all setting stones in the TV history. So for example, Savdhan India was very unique in its own self. Adalat was a very unique show in its own self. Uttaran was something that was a rage at that point in time. So how did it feel like?
It was bread and butter for me. It was the next, check that was coming. And there were times when I used to do, two shows. I used to write two shows, screenplay for one and story for one. So there are all these things that happen in our industry, television industry. That one guy writes just the story, one guy writes the screenplay, one guy writes dialogues. So I used to do that, those kind of stuff, and these associations were not to the extent of the whole duration of these shows. So I used to come in for a year, maybe 6 months, then get fired also once in a while, or leave sometimes. So all these combinations would happen. The shows would get over.
That takes us to a kind of a new phenomena that has taken over the country. And I'm talking about the OTT here. Television, as we have seen it, has seen its kind of a drastic change. A lot of concepts are coming in, a lot of new stories are coming in. How different do you think the scenario is right now, and how good it is for independent filmmakers?
From a creative standpoint, as a writer or as a storyteller, each of these have very different grammar of storytelling. So if you're writing television, which is around a 22-minute slot, versus if you're doing a mini series with, or even a series which are like 10 episodes of 22-25-minute slot, versus the Netflix types which are 45 to 50 minutes a slot into 10, which is like 500 minutes of content for this particular. The kind of material that you need to weave into your storytelling is very different for all these three platforms. So when something like Made in Heaven, most of the OTT guys were looking for the next Made in Heaven. So can you give us something that is, in that zone? Mirzapur, then everyone went for that Mirzapur look, Central India, Dehati, Gali Galoj. You have something like that. Sometimes it's fed by the marketing need because they need subscriptions from certain places, certain parts of the country. So it kind of changes and keeps changing. The OTT is there to stay. And now with this COVID, no theaters are shutting down. So the stars are going to come into these kind of platforms. They have already started coming. So the moment you have stars, the whole business is going to, it's shifting every day.
Your second film, Music Teacher, is on Netflix. You are a part producer in that film. And I am really intrigued and interested to know how the economics work here, how the commerce works here.
If Netflix chooses your script and they produce it, or they fund it, obviously they will hire a producer, or you go as a producer or whatever. But if it is a script level that Netflix gets into, or any one of these can get into, that's one dynamics. And the other is an acquisition. For example, Music Teacher was acquired. It was produced by Saregama completely. Completed film was acquired by Netflix, and they announced it to be original. Now they also keep acquiring a lot of films, and you suddenly they'll pop up in your feed. But they made an announcement in 2019 September, 2018 September or whatever, that 2019 slate is going to have certain films, out of which Music Teacher was also there, and there were other unproduced films also, which over the period of time they got produced and they got kind of launched. We made it at a cost and we sold it at a price, and what was the profit was shared in the ratios that was earlier decided. It's not a royalty based thing that, okay, if you have so many hits, we will give you so much, which is the YouTube model. But Amazon Prime has certain things that, pay per minutes view or something of that sort. It's called something. So you just put in. You don't need to be chosen by them also. You just put it. It's just a platform. You put it if you get so many hits, so many minutes of hit, then they promise you certain amount of money.
What was it like? What was the entire experience like, being a producer and a writer and a director?
In fact, my first telefilm that I produced had Irfan and Vidya Balan in it. It was called The Violin Sonata. It was made for Zee Rishte. But unfortunately, by the time I was ready with that particular film, they had shut the slot. I was left with it. There was no other avenue to kind of sell a 1 hour film at that point of time. No other channel would have taken it. So I lost a lot of money. It was unsold, unreleased. So in Music Teacher, I had a stake in the profit. The decision, the production was completely handled by Saregama, and they were the de facto producers. So, but whenever you helm a project like this, and which is a very tight project, you have to think like a producer, whether you are the producer or not. The MBA education probably helps you to kind of see things in perspective. And if you come from a background which helps you to kind of have a money value to everything, which is why both my films were shot in record days. Music Teacher was shot in 17 or 18 days. Great Indian Butterfly was shot in 15 days.
In 2013, you got an award, which is the Sundance Institute Mahindra Global Filmmaking Award. How was it like? How did it all change when you actually got this award?
Masaan got the same award on the third year of the Sundance Lab in India.
Right.
Music Teacher got it on the second year, and Shonali Bose's Margarita of the Straw got it on the first year itself. Something told me that I was on the right path, because I did not have anyone to tell me whether what I was doing was right or wrong, what I was writing was worthy or was it trash. Yeah, I mean, television writing was giving me the money, but was I even really good in terms of a cinema world, So when Sundance kind of people tell you that, okay, out of so many lab participants all over the world, only 4, and you are one out of those 4, it kind of brings your faith in your own self back.
You mentioned about the MBA world, which is very difficult, the corporate world, which is difficult. But do you ever miss that probably if you have went to that path, like a lot of your friends, you might have become a CEO at some company and draw hefty checks month after month. Do you somewhere miss that, Sarthak?
Most of my friends, my buddies, are CEOs of very interesting companies. They draw a lot of hefty checks, which I sometimes don't. That doesn't bother me, because they tell me that, Sarthak, tera kya life hai? You are having so much of fun. So they tell me that. And I also feel the same, that I really have fun doing what I want to do, chasing my dream. This is not a dream anymore. It's my career. This is what it is, At one point it was a dream, because I was shifting from one thing to the other. So it was a dream. It's no more a dream. I'm living my dream. So it's not a dream anymore. It's my life. No, I don't miss being in the corporate. I enjoy my freedom. I enjoy my, I photograph. I have a small garden. I grow fruits and vegetables in my own small house. I travel a lot. So that freedom is amazing. I love it.
On that note, Sarthak, I would thank you very much for your time. You've been very patient, and I really loved the journey that you shared with all of us. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to get a lot of perspective from this. Thank you very much for doing this.
Thank you.